So we're going to take all that we have learned in the previous lessons about state management and put it all together in a quick mini project to showcase state management in a real application. Now, I want to go through the whole process I go through when developing an application, and you'll see why I think state and state management is so important, so key to think about early on. I want to do this using a to-do app. Maybe you want to be asking why we're going to use a to-do app. Well, if you remember, an application is just a way to show data, and the data is most of the time state. Now with the to-do app, it's all just state. The to-do list is your whole state object, and it's just manipulating that state and working with it. So it's a great example to showcase state management. Now this application is going to be able to do a couple things. So first, we're going to be able to add a to-do list, maybe something like record the to-do app video. We can add the to-do item. Now you can do a couple things from this home screen. You can either delete this item or you can complete this item. Now we're going to add another one, maybe say edit this to-do app video. I'm going to add the to-do, and let's say we finish recording, we click complete. You'll see a pop-up jumps up here saying completed to-dos, and you're able to click into it and see all the completed ones. Here, the only option we have is to delete it. We'll be able to delete it, and we'll be able to jump back, and you see no longer see the completed list, and then we could delete this, and we're back to where we started. So in this lesson, we will think about the architecture and plan out that build, and you'll see we're going to think a lot about state and how that works. So the very first thing I think about when developing an application is what kind of states your app is going to have. Remember, an app, for the most part, is just showing data in different ways and interacting with that data. So it's pretty much the core of what you want to do within an application. So this is going to be our state. And that state, of course, is going to be a to-do list. Now we're going to have three different ways we can interact with this to-do list. So first, we can add something to the to-do list. We can complete a to-do, and we can delete a to-do. Remember, with proper state management, the only thing that can manipulate that data is within the actual state management object. So if we're doing RiverPod, this will be a state notifier widget. And I always start with this. Think about what kind of data you're going to have, how that data is going to be manipulated. And then you take that data and you put a UI around it. So I'm going to change the shape of the UI elements and the screens to be a little bit different. I'm going to change it to be a nice boring gray color. So the first thing we want to work with is the first way to interact with that to-do list. And that is to go to this add screen and be able to add a to-do. So let's say this is the add screen. And we're going to interact with our state object by telling it to add. Remember, this screen itself is not doing any adding. The state object does the manipulation, so you can only ask it to call that add function, and then it can tell you whether it did or not. So this screen is taken care of. We could tell it to record a video. And we interact with that to-do list object, and then we go to this second screen. So the second screen is our home screen. Now this home screen interacts with it a couple ways. Very first thing is it listens to our actual state object. So that to-do list needs to listen to anything that changes with it. It's actually using the state that we defined. And then if you remember, there's a couple actions we could do from here. We could either delete or we can complete. So we can ask our state notifier to either complete or delete. And then the very last screen is, let's say we have completed a to-do list item, and click complete. And we have this last screen that is the completed screen. And here we can only do one action, and that is to delete. So if we switch back to here, we can duplicate another screen, and we'll call this one the completed screen. Again, this listens to the state because we have to get all the to-do list items here. And we can call one action onto the state object, and that is the delete. So this is the diagram for our to-do app. And you notice everything revolves around the state. The state management object, which in this case is a to-do list, is the one that manipulates all the data and shows the data to whatever screen actually needs it. State management is really important. You got to think about it right from the get-go. Now let's go actually implement this application.